Hello friends, today I wanted to make a little belated vlog about my experience of seeing Oneus in Berlin because this was a very spontaneous thing that happened and it was the first time that I had VIP. It was the first time that I had any sort of sound check. It was the first time that I did a high wave, and so I just really wanted to come on here and talk about that experience, even just for my own memory, to make sure that I will always remember this absolutely crazy experience. And I didn't really film much footage of me during the days that I was in Berlin, the 48 hours more like. It was even less than that. Anyway, we'll get to that. I didn't really film much footage of me, but I did film a lot of footage at the concert. I filmed the sound check. I filmed other things that I did while I was in Berlin. And so I thought that I would just like sit down, talk to you about the experience, even though I didn't film me like this while I was there talking to you all. I thought I'd just sit down right now and kind of talk about how it all was and just include some footage. Now I do want to put out a quick disclaimer that this video is not going to be focused on the terrible experience that was the VIP experience at the Berlin concert. I know lots of people have already talked about it. Lots of people that were way more involved in it than I was. Of course, I was there. I was VIP, so I definitely saw everything, how everything went down, and I thought it was terrible organization. But this video is not really supposed to be me talking about that kind of experience. I'm sure like little things will come up about the experience just because it was, you know, part of it. But this is not supposed to be a video where I talk about how terrible that experience was and give my 2 cents to it, because at the end of the day, even though I saw how terribly organized it was, I was so far at the back of everything that I never really had any sort of issue apart from just thinking, oh my God, this is all chaotic. So I don't really think my perspective is needed here. Lots of people have done videos about it, and for me, this video is just supposed to be like, oh my God, like here are all the happy memories that I made during this weekend. So let's get into it. Basically, if you have watched my Tilburg vlog, you will know that I had no chance, technically, of going to any other Oneus concert. But I was a changed human after seeing Oneus in Tilburg. I have followed Oneus ever since debut. You have to know that before I started standing BTS, I was just casually listening to K-pop, and there were just a few select artists where I would be excited about their releases, but for the most part, I would just be very casual, wouldn't really engage with the community, wouldn't really watch any other content than music videos. And I also listened almost exclusively to girl groups. And I know that always sounds really fake, considering that I now collect basically only boy groups and that is the content that I mostly engage with. I listen to both. I feel like it's very balanced nowadays, but who I stan and collect is obviously very much boy groups. So I know this always sounds a little bit fake, but that is genuinely how it used to be. And any boy group that I would somehow notice and would like actually genuinely enjoy listening to would be like the odd one out. So the fact that in 2019 I was obsessed with Valkyrie is truly something special. And so I generally just have been following them since then and have just really enjoyed their music since then. I think that just their discography is so fucking good, and you know, I really love them and watched Road to Kingdom. And just, you know, I definitely have been kind of following throughout their career, you know, what they've been up to, and was so happy when they finally got their first win. I was always kind of there, like casually. So I had been wanting for them to come to Europe. And I was really sad when they didn't. After they did their the first US tour that they did, I was really sad that they didn't. I was surprised as well that they didn't tour Europe after it. I was also supposed to see them at K-pop Flex in Frankfurt last year, which they were, after Monster X, my second biggest reason to go to that festival. Then they had COVID. I've just really been anticipating seeing them live. and I had been really excited and I knew that it was going to be an amazing time. But what I experienced going to this concert was genuinely, I love going to concerts. I go to a lot of concerts. I usually come out of concerts being obsessed with the artists that I saw, only wanting to listen to them for a while, and just having a different appreciation for a lot of their songs. That is a very normal experience. What I felt coming out of the Oneus concert was not a normal experience. Like, I was wild. Like, I wanted my entire life to revolve around Oneus and nothing but Oneus, and I couldn't stop thinking about wanting to see them again. And you never know when groups come back to Europe. I don't know. Maybe I won't ever have a chance to see them again live unless I go to Seoul or the US or whatever, right? But like, I couldn't stop thinking about seeing them again. And it was work-wise with a lot of different factors. It was just like, it seemed impossible. But then the Tilburg concert was on a Thursday and I just didn't stop talking about the concert. And then on Tuesday, I was just about to go home after work, and one of my colleagues, one of my most precious to me colleagues, she was kind of like, you know, why don't you just ask? Like, just fucking ask, right? And kind of we were like talking about it back and forth. So that day I came home, did a lot of planning, and then Wednesday morning I immediately went up to, there were basically 3 people that I kind of had to ask in this specific case if I could take the day off. And all of them said yes, and all of them were quite supportive. And I feel very grateful that I was able to go up to these people and say, honestly, I want to go to a concert in Berlin on Friday. Can I have the day off? Instead of coming up with some sort of lie. So I'm very grateful for that. And it was just very quickly that I, you know, had the approval of 3 of the important people that I had to ask to take this day off, immediately booked my ticket, and then immediately checked to see if there's still VIP available as well. They didn't have VIP Plus with the picture. I don't know if I would have done it, if I'm being quite honest, because they are taking the group pictures with 10 people anyway. And I'm not quite sure if I find a picture with 10 other people worth an additional €50 on top of the VIP price. But I knew that I wanted to get VIP because Berlin didn't have different tiers, and VIP, you know, is like early entry. So I think that was honestly the main reason for me, especially because I knew I would only be able to drive there the day of the concert, and it takes me about 6 hours to drive. So I was just like, you know what, I'll just do VIP, so I have early entry secured. And I mean, I'll get to have my first Soundcheck and I'll get to have my first High Wave. So obviously felt very happy about that. The drive there went really well. I woke up quite early just to be able to get out of, you know, like the going to work traffic, rush hour, that's what you call it. And I got there, it just all went really well. Even I included a power nap at a certain point during the drive, and still everything went super well. A friend of mine who lives in Berlin, she was the one that I also stayed with at the Twice concert. She let me very spontaneously stay with her again, even though she herself had just returned from a trip on the Wednesday, I think, so, or the Tuesday. So I don't know, I'm very, very grateful for her as well, especially because she is also, she likes a lot of second gen K-pop. She's not really into K-pop now, but she's also always like so supportive, and she was just like happy for me that I get to see this group again that apparently I really love. And so I arrived at her place, just like got ready and everything, obviously had a little chat with her and had some food and stuff. And then I think I was at the venue at 2:30. Honestly, I could have just gone to no, it must have been earlier than that, because VIP started, the check-in started at 3:30 and I was there about 2.5-ish hours before that. So it was like 1:30. Honestly, especially considering it was quite windy and cold, and it started raining as well, not too badly, but still started raining in parts while I was in the queue. The queue was already so long and there were not that many people behind me. So honestly, I could have just waited until 3:30, but it was fine because one of the things why I actually wanted to go to the queue a little bit early is because of freebies. So I am gonna just, you know, show you the freebies that I got while waiting in the queue. I'm pretty sure this group picture is one that I actually got at the Tilburg concert as well. Let me hold it in front of my face so hopefully it focuses. Yes, and it says La Dolce Vita in Europe as well. Then someone came around with an entire like bundle of freebies that just had a picture of each of the members. And then someone was walking around asking us who our bias was. So I got this Hwanwoong photo card as well, which, let's be real, it basically looks like a real photo card because the back as well. And like the fact that it says the name, like it doesn't just have a random back, but like it says the name with a little emoji, is very wild. Then I saw on Twitter, I kept like kind of checking on Twitter, just like I kind of wanted to like see, you know, what people are writing from maybe further front in the queue and stuff. So I was just like checking the Oneus Berlin search on Twitter the entire time. And then I saw an artist that said that they had brought freebies and where they were in the queue. So I went up, and I will leave a link to this artist's Instagram and Twitter in the description down below because their art is beautiful. But here's my Hwanwoong freebie. And I don't know, their art is really, really beautiful. So I'm really happy I found them there. And then with them was sitting a different person who had like stacks of freebies. Ended up giving me these two Hwanwoongs as well. So these were all of the freebies that I got while waiting in line. So honestly, that alone was worth it. Check-in started pretty much on time at 3:30, and you know, took a while until I actually was able to get to the check-in because I was again very far back down the line. That's also why I didn't know anything about the whole issues. I almost called it drama, but I don't think that's fair. But the whole issue that was at the front of the VIP line. So that's also why I'm like, I can't talk about it because I didn't experience it. By the time I got there, it was all fine. And then we got to check in and everybody got a lanyard, which obviously, well, not, I don't know, is it that obvious? But we did get to keep it, which I'm very happy about this as a keepsake as well, especially because I got a mobile ticket since I bought it. So like I bought it 2 days before the concert, right? So I made sure to buy it mobile. And then we had the, what is it called? Wristbands. Everybody got a wristband as well, and they had different wristbands for the normal VIPs and the VIPs who had the photo as well. Oh, and also did not even show this yet. This was the banner. They actually had different banners, so I don't really know what happened there, but this is the banner that I got as well that we held up during epilogue. Oh. Yeah, we held this one up during epilogue, which, y'all, I cannot listen to epilogue or Hallie's Comet without sobbing. So it's gonna take a while for me to kind of reclaim those songs because it just reminds me of the concert and I just feel a lot of emotions about that. We had to wait a whole lot longer out in the cold until we finally got let into VIP, which I feel like the actual process of people walking into the concert venue for VIP, I think that one actually went fine. I was quite far to the back, but it was fine. And that is exactly the reason, again, or one of the reasons why I got VIP, because even though I was towards the back of VIP, I still had such an amazing spot. And I saw, you know, I was still really close to them. Again, this was the first time that I ever experienced Soundcheck, but I love the experience. I feel like it would have been, I'm kind of glad I didn't get Soundcheck for Tilburg because the experience of them just casually walking on stage, I think it would have killed me if that would have been the first time that I saw them in person. I filmed a lot during Soundcheck because I don't know, for all I know, this might be the only time I ever have Soundcheck. And that was something that I knew I really wanted to make sure I have that in video. If you don't know, I'm sure I've talked about this before, but I'm the kind of person, I wish I didn't film as much as I do, but I have to film as much as I do because I will literally think what I have experienced is fake. Like I will not be able to process what has happened unless there is a video, which I'm going to get into that with the High Wave experience as well, which I was actually really glad that it was a little bit better for me with the High Wave, but we're going to get into that as well. But I tend to film quite a lot because it's the only way I can process experiences like this. And I am the type of person, I will watch those videos back again and again and again and again and again. And so I did film basically all of Soundcheck, and especially because the 3 songs that they did for Soundcheck was A Song Written Easily, Unforgettable, and Stupid Love. And Unforgettable and Stupid Love are my 2 favorite B-sides. And that is with a huge gap to anything else because those 2 songs mean the fucking world to me. How fucking lucky that I heard those 2 songs at Soundcheck. Like, it means that I heard my 2 favorite B-sides 3 times performed by them. Anyway, I loved Soundcheck a lot. I loved that they were just talking to us. This was one of those moments where I once again thought to myself, Leah, you need to learn fucking Korean because I just want to understand what they're saying. The translator that evening wasn't great either. So I definitely wish I would have just been able to understand what they were saying without a translator. But still, it was a wonderful experience and I would absolutely do it again.
Hello. Hi everyone. 둘, 셋. Hello. We are Oneus. Hello everyone. Thank you for coming. Which song do you want to listen now?
언제나 나를 헷갈리게만 믿어 관심 없는 척 은근슬쩍은 내척 네가 날 좋아하지 않는단 걸 알아 네가 필요할 때만 찾는단 걸 알아 멍청이 같지만 다시 고백 말은 적당히 해라 너무 내가 나와 난 괜찮았게 나 괴롭히는 건지 이해 못 받겠어 너게 너란 게 됐어 너란 풍선이나 떠 있는데 이름은 잡기 싫어 나뿐이라도 너라서 상관없어 내 곁에 나뿐이 아니래도 뭐 상관없어 I know I'm stupid love 멍청이 같아도 I'm stupid love 나뿐이라도 너라서 상관없어 네 곁에 나뿐이 아니래도 뭐 상관없어 I know I'm stupid love 가져도 괜찮아 I'm stupid love
자, Let's go! 가볼게요. 3, 2, 1, go!
사실 그만 버렸어 나는
when the whole mess started, where I guess they wanted to soundcheck more songs without an audience, which I understand that makes sense, but we all had to leave the venue again, and that is when there was just a whole mess starting. Once we all got to go back inside for the actual concert, it was just chaos. Like, I could hear people in front like screaming and yelling. It sounded like hell. But again, this is why I don't really want to talk about this, because I did not really experience this firsthand. Now, I will say, I think overall, and again, this is just me being towards the back of the VIP block of it all, I did not really have any issues with pushing. There were definitely a lot of people who were just quite dehydrated, and there were people passing out. Like, while Oneus was speaking, there were several cases where people were just like asking for water and asking for security. So there was definitely that going on. But I also just, I mean, you all need to take a little bit better care of yourselves as well. And I'm not blaming anyone for what happened in the venue that day, but I do notice a lot of just not safe behavior for yourselves as well. So just want to put that out there. Anyway, concert in and of itself was obviously amazing. I had an amazing time. They were incredible. I do laugh that they had 3 different outfits for this tour, and I managed to see them with the same outfit choice. I would have loved to see them in a different outfit, but it is what it is. Like, I mean, I'm not fucking complaining, like, don't get me wrong, but I do think it's funny. I am still going through some of the footage. I uploaded every performance video that I have to TikTok, and I think almost everything is uploaded to YouTube Shorts as well. TikTok is usually where I will upload basically everything that I have. I fell even more in love with them. I feel extra in love with Hwanwoong again as well in this concert, and I just love him very, very dearly. There's so much footage that I took of him just speaking and listening to the other members, and he's an angel. He's such an angel. And like, every time, like, I want to make a compilation of every time he was just like smiling or laughing when I was filming him like speak or listen again, because he is just the cutest angel, and I love him so dearly. Okay, I had to turn on the light because now it has started raining as well, and I'm just like, okay, we're done with this. Let me talk about the High Wave, because I think there's not that much for me to say about the concert. I loved it. It was amazing, and it was an incredible experience, and I just loved them so much, and I loved their performances. But I want to talk about the High Wave because like, I sent my friend a voice note basically immediately after, but I feel like it's still like, I feel like I'm so scared of the memory starting to get like hazy that I just want to talk about it as much as possible. So basically, we had to line up again in the same spot that we had to line up before getting into the venue and between soundcheck and the actual concert. I was pretty much towards the front of the line-ish. Also, they did VIP first and then they did VIP plus. So, you know, I was just like kind of towards the fourth of the normal VIPs. And I feel like it didn't take that long for things to start moving. I had thankfully read someone on Twitter talk about, I think it was a VIP or like High Wave in Madrid, and they had said that you have to be prepared because you're just gonna like open the door and they're gonna be there or something. So I think I was just like expecting them to be around every corner, which was very great. And in Berlin, it was actually like, once we got back into the venue through a different entrance, you had to walk upstairs and then they were right there, which I feel like I was waiting for a door. I was waiting there for there to be a door, and I was just walking up the stairs and they were right there. But I will say, I think it was a really, and again, this was my first time. So I kind of knew that it would be really quickly, because obviously there were other high waves that people have done. Like, I think Monster X's high wave that they did for the No Limit tour last year, I think people were allowed to film, or otherwise I might have seen illegal footage. I don't know. But I just kind of, I knew that it would be super quick and I knew not to expect too much from it. So I just very much went into it thinking, this is just a bonus. This is just for me to have a quick moment to be able to look at them all and just tell them that I love them and that the concert was amazing. So up the stairs, and then people in front of me, I was like at the top of the stairs and people in front of me had already started walking. And in that moment, I only realized like, oh my God, they're right there. Like you had to walk a little bit and then there was a table and they were right there. I was also very glad there wasn't any, like there was no like glass thing in front of them, which obviously that has been a thing as well. And obviously I'm all for, you know, safety, don't get me wrong. But also I was kind of glad it wasn't there because that definitely, it was quite dark in the room as well. So I was just glad that I could see them, you know, right there. And basically just the little walk from the top of the stairs to the actual table, I had to think in that moment how I was going to approach that. Now I understand. I had so much time to think about that. But I even with the person telling me they're going to be right there, I just didn't expect them to be like at the top of the stairs. So there was a little bit of a gap before me, which felt really like I was just quite happy. I think my experience was quite good because the like queue wasn't as organized yet, so I was really walking by them by myself. Like there was not really anyone close behind me or close in front of me, so I really got to look at every single one of them, and I just kind of went by them, waved and said hi, thank you so much for the amazing concert. And I did decide to focus very heavily, and I'm so sorry, I feel like to Jiyeon especially, like he's the sweetest bean, but I feel like because he was right after Hwanwoong, I was like, it was so quick. But basically decided to really focus on Hwanwoong, and everybody said hi, but he was the one who looked back at me and kind of like, they were kind of turned like towards the people that came towards the table. He was the one who turned with me as I was walking by him and said to me, thank you so much. Like, I feel like high waves are a crazy experience that you don't have time to process. And again, I have such a hard time processing things that I don't film when they are like, you know, when they're very heavy with the adrenaline and stuff and the endorphins and stuff. It makes it so hard for my brain to process those type of things. So the fact that I can still see his face so clearly in front of me, turning with me and saying, thank you so much. Like I can still see his face. I know his exact expression and I've seen this expression before. Like I could find a video of him making that expression, and that is just insane to me. I definitely very much remember Kyunhee's smile. Everything else is a huge blur, but I have talked to other people who have done high waves and everybody said like that is just what it is. And especially for your first high wave, it's going to be so quick. Like it's so hard to focus on every single member. And so I don't know, I'm just very glad, like I'm very grateful for how I very spontaneously reacted in that moment, where I decided to just focus on Hwanwoong and that I got that kind of moment and that kind of interaction with him. And I feel like I'm sure I have looked all of them in the eye, but I don't really remember them looking back at me. I can just like kind of, you know, I can kind of hear the highs in my head, but I so specifically remember him looking me right in the eye, following me as I was walking past them and saying thank you so much. So honestly, I feel like that is the best case scenario to get that kind of moment out of it with your buyers. So, and I would have loved that to happen with any of the other members too, to get like such a, for such a short moment, to get that kind of like intense interaction. But for it to be my buyers of all of them was obviously extra special. And I think that in general, this was just an amazing end to the concert. And I think it really helped like the closure of the concert a lot. So yeah, I'd definitely be open to doing that again. But anyway, I went back home after that and just got rest because obviously I was fucking tired. I drove 6 hours, got up early, stood for a lot of the time, right? Like I was exhausted, so just slept in the next morning, and then I went to the pop-up store. Now I did a short for the pop-up store as well. I deleted all of the footage that I have of it, so I am probably just going to have some footage run here that I still have left from the TikTok. But the pop-up store was amazing. It was in the East Side Mall. They had all these you know, you had like the Baila Conmigo video play all throughout the mall, which was insane. And yeah, I don't even want to talk about the pop-up store too much because again, I did a shorts just for that. I just quickly wanted to show this signed album. So basically they had members specific signed albums for 30 euro, and then they had group signed albums for 50 euro. So both are prices that are completely fine and valid because normal albums in Europe cost between like 25 and 35 euro anyway, so this was basically just how much a normal album would have cost. And I have Hwanwoong's signed album. I also obviously, you know, wanted to see who I pulled. Now, I didn't realize that there were photo cards in here. My friend that I stayed with in Berlin, she realized when we were like going through the stuff that I had bought that day, she like opened this and she was like, oh, and then I only saw that I pulled this beautiful Cheon photo card, and I pulled this Hwanwoong Polaroid as well, because I only saw the main card that I pulled in the album, which was this Kiani, which is so beautiful as well. And then there were also photo cards that you got from buying the album. They even say 2023 Europe on the back, which is wild. But that is the one that I got with the album. And then I bought 2 random photo card packs as well, which are specific to the Europe tour as well, which I am so impressed with the amount of Europe specific merch. Now, if they do a US leg of the tour, they might have the same merch, but it might just say, you know, US on the back. The fact that we have all these Europe specific things just makes my heart very happy. But basically, I pulled these 2 photo cards. So I pulled a Hwanwoong, which obviously we absolutely love to see, and a Soho, and I got dupes. So I had the same pack twice, and then I was very, very glad to trade with people. One traded me Soho for Ido because Soho is her bias, and then another person pulled dupes of this Hwanwoong. So I was like, oh my god, can we please just trade the different Hwanwoongs because that's my bias and you would make me so happy. And they were like, okay, that's fine. Bless her heart. And yeah, so basically I have all these photo cards, and I guess we're starting collecting Oneus in a chill way, but still we're starting. I went into the actual K-Idol store as well, and they are like, I really like their store because they have mirrors. I think they have 4 mirrors throughout the store, and all of them have like decorations on them. So this time around there was obviously one for Oneus, there was one for 17, I think there was one for Espa maybe, and another one, and then they will just like do different ones. I assume it probably has to do with like who will have or just had a comeback, or like I'm pretty sure they did one for P1 Harmony because they were just in Berlin. So I think that's really, really cool and just a great photo opportunity. From the pop-up store, I went to a bubble tea shop called Ulteamate, and I will have footage of that here as well. And they basically had a Oneus event as well. They didn't have cup sleeves, but they had freebies if you got one of the 2 special drinks. So I got their same scent special drink, and I got to just, they had these little envelopes, so you just got to pull an envelope and you just knew 2 photo cards, 2 freebies would be inside. Honestly, like, how freaking beautiful are these freebies? And also they really decorated the backs super beautifully as well. Obviously just very happy to have another Hwanwoong and yeah, that just made my heart very, very happy. Yeah, that was a really nice experience as well. And then the last place that I went to was the Soulstation Berlin shop. They had nothing like special going on in terms of like stuff you could buy that was like specific to Oneus, but they had like a little thing as well when you went right into the store, and definitely you could just tell, like, you know, Berlin was fucking celebrating Oneus, and so I really like that as well. The store is so small, but they have so much stuff in there. It was amazing. I didn't buy anything in there because at that point I would already spend quite a lot of money, so I didn't really, there was nothing in particular that I felt like spending money on. But it was the first time that I actually got to visit that store, so that was really nice too. And I was just very happy to see that they did like a little special thing for Oneus as well, walking into the store. And yeah, that was my last kind of K-pop related thing that I did. That was it for my Berlin trip to see Oneus in concert. It was really exhausting. I drove back Sunday morning and then went back to work on Monday. I was very tired all throughout the week. I'm so happy. I'm filming this on the weekend. I don't know, you might see this on a Sunday or at some point throughout the week, but I'm just so happy it's the weekend now, so I can genuinely relax and rest, and also just really try and process last weekend. I think that this video was for that as well, to help me process everything that happened last weekend. And I obviously already have gone through my footage that I took of the concerts so much and like uploaded stuff, but there's still clips that I haven't really gone through and that I haven't really been able to process. So I'm very excited to do that this weekend as well, and just to fully process everything that happened, but also to process that the European tour is now over and that Oneus have left Europe, and I am quite sad about it. I just hope that they had an amazing time. I hope that they could feel how loved they were in Europe, and that European to Moons would have waited 1,000 more years for them to come here, but hopefully they will come here again sooner. If it works out, if they come here again, I will try and see every single show. For the most part, I loved seeing them live, and I would like to do it again and again and again and again. But who knows, maybe one day I'll be able to just see them in Seoul as well, which would be beautiful too. Or in Japan, because they're Japanese songs. I want to see them performed live. But anyway, so yeah, that is it for this vlog. If you have made it this far and you have watched this and you kind of went on this journey with me, thank you so much. It really, really means the world to me, because this experience has meant the world to me, and sharing it with you all is quite special. And again, this has very much helped me process the experience as well, and I will never forget it. It will always be so special to me because it's Oneus, but it will also be so special to me forever because it was my first soundcheck and my first high wave. And yeah, it is just something different to experience that for the first time, I'm sure. But yeah, that is it. Thank you so much for watching again. It means a lot to me, and I will see you with another video very soon. Bye!